It's 7:10. It's the WSJM Morning Show. We've got Robotics Roundtable coming up next. We're going to do a little bit of sports. We're going to start the talking on our video live stream, so tune in if you want to see the full unedited video. It's happening right now on YouTube and Facebook. Just type in WSJM, go to videos, and you'll find us there. This is the WSJM Morning Show, a little bit of sports. All right. Computer issues this morning are vexing me, so maybe one of you can come over. No, and just fix it. Come over and fix this, please. No, good morning and welcome again to the WSJM Morning Show video live stream. Happy to have folks in the studio this morning. Tim Tate, president of Edgewater Automation. Dave Goodenough is the director of Robot Technology Development. And we also have off camera a little bit, Tim Denai, who is our FIRST Robotics judge advisor and a great enthusiast and just a wonderful person all around. So thank you all for coming in today. We appreciate you. We'll talk in just a couple of minutes. But first off, who wants to give us a foundation maybe of what Edgewater Automation is and your involvement with robotics?
I can do that.
Okay.
Edgewater Automation, we were founded in 2001 by Rick Blake, who lives down in Sawyer, Michigan. It's a family-owned business. We build automated assembly systems for several different segments in the market. It's a local company where we're very involved with FIRST Robotics. We've got several people who are mentors, several people who have participated in teams, several employees who have actually turned into great engineers and builders and technicians. It's been a great feeding program for our company.
The kinds of robotics that we see at FIRST Robotics, are they a little different what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, man. Yeah, they're a little different. They're definitely a little different, but you know what? The mechatronics are there. It's teaching the kids the controllers, the wiring, the build.
Is that what mechatronics are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, maybe just a little bit of an explanation. Mechatronics.
I'll let you give that one.
Well, basically, mechatronics is a combination of a bunch of things, right? So, FIRST Robotics enhances everything that we do on a day-to-day level, right? It's designing, mechanical design, controls design. We have electricians on the floor that are basically wiring things. We have, mechanical assembly guys, journeyman tool makers that are basically just putting it all together. So, and then even into the path of FIRST Robotics, tying it all kind of together here is we have marketing teams. We have, sales teams that are going out and trying to get money to help the FIRST Robotics team going on. So every aspect of what we do at the FIRST Robotics level ties in directly to what we do. So the mechatronics part of it is bringing them all together as one big unit to where you have all these things where everybody has an understanding of all these different options of what you can and can't get into.
That not only does that's inspiring. So thank you for your community commitment for that. Because we'll talk about it this hour of how this helps prepare people, our young people, for careers, not only just in putting mechanics together, not just the mechatronics, but leadership skills, those soft skills that you need.
Oh, absolutely. That's the stuff that's hard to teach, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these kids are getting some firsthand exposure to responsibility of a team, and being part of a team like that and having an opportunity to lead. These kids are coming in prepared. They're not afraid of the audience, right? You come into a workplace fresh out of high school and you've never been through that kind of a training, opportunity where they get to present, they get to share the knowledge they're doing, they get to show what they're working on. And it's part of what they do every day. These kids are organized. Everybody has a segment that they're responsible for. That translates right into coming into a workplace, being prepared to show who you are and what you're ready to do for them.
I love that.
It's fun to watch kids come in at a freshman level, become just in the background, and all of a sudden 2 years later or at the end, they're like leading the team. They're the leaders of it. They tell the other ones, they start telling about that. They're not afraid to throw out an idea to say, oh, that ain't bad. That's a bad idea. Or
hang on just 1 second. We're going to get on the air and I'll let Tim set a foundation as well. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
12, but it will taper off by tomorrow morning. We'll see some sun on Friday with highs at 25. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
Okay, it's the WSJM Morning Show. Yeah, we do. We bounce all over the place. Well, and one of the things that we offer is that exclusive video experience that if people are on YouTube or on Facebook, they get the whole broadcast end to end. and so they don't get interrupted by those pesky commercials. My boss hates it when I say that, but you know what I mean. You fast forward through stuff
all the time.
The time. All right. Well, we give that opportunity to people who tune in on the video live stream, but on the air, everything you can hear, everything on the radio. But good morning. I'm Ken Lundberg. It's the WSJM morning show. We have guests in the studio this morning. We're doing our robotics roundtable, and we're fortunate enough to have Tim Tate, president of Edgewater Automation, Dave Goodenough, the director of robot technology development at Edgewater Automation, and also our faithful Tim Denai with FIRST Robotics. He's a judge, advisor, and enthusiast. And Tim, you set this interview up. You were able to land these people, to bring them in. You want to give us just a little bit of a background of what it is that they're. Oh shoot, I did my microphone thing again. Let me set this up for you. Let's see, do that. Nope, that's not going to work. All right, I'll bring you back in just a second. But Tim brought all these individuals together to talk about FIRST Robotics. And what we were just talking about on the video live stream was why Edgewater Automation is part of this commitment, part of this program. And it's all about developing not only technical skills, but those soft skills, the leadership skills, the motivation, the inspiration to do things that in some cases people haven't done before. And so why don't we have Tim Tate and Dave Goodenough talk just a little bit about yourselves, introduce yourselves if you wouldn't mind, who you are, your background, and the role you play currently at Edgewater Automation. Tim, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I'm Tim Tate. I'm the president of Edgewater Automation. I started in this trade back in 1995 as a senior in high school. Back then, there was a program called MT3 that used to run through Weldon International. And believe it or not, Dave Goodenough was a mentor way back then, too. Dave came in to teach us how to, run Bridgeports and, run lathes and wire machines and debug. And at that time, I think we were building an automated pizza assembly machine or a pizza cutting machine, and
an automated pizza cutting machine. Did that turn out?
You know what? It did. And I think that was one of the development projects from the year before. And then we had a automated ice cream sundae maker, if you remember that.
Yep.
I'm sensing a theme.
Food, right? Yeah.
Food, yeah.
In this trade, food.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah, right.
How can you get it fed faster?
That at that level, that was a little bit similar to what FIRST Robotics was, but it wasn't the mechatronic side. It was more of the machine tool side of things, and then the assembly side of custom automation of building equipment. At that time, we learned all the soft skills, the hard skills. We learned the pressure skills. I remember on our night, our celebration night with our parents, and we brought them in there. We were proud to present our automated ice cream machine, and boy, oh boy, did we learn real quick about tolerancing, because once we went from a hot machine to a cold machine and introducing ice cream, everything seized up on us. On the fly, I can remember us all crawling around on our hands and knees trying to debug that thing, getting it running and getting it going. And Dave was right there with us sweating, like he does with these kids with FIRST Robotics.
Dave Goodenough is the director of robot technology development. Tell us what that means. That sounds like a fascinating role.
It's an interesting role. Basically, I get to go around to new customers and kind of push robotics. I've been big in robotics for a very long time. Like Tim, I started at Weldon a long time ago, 1980, and I went through an apprenticeship and started machine designing, and I went to work my way up into where I am right now. So development. So I get to go and meet new customers. I get to go see how they're doing things. I get to go see, can I help them become more productive? Like, I go into places that have no automation at all. So I start looking at, well, if we do this, this, and this, we can start talking about things. I can say that we can have some robots do this, and we can help you, train you on robotics. We can do all this stuff to where we can try to bring this into where you are now being able to put out your product faster. Whatever that is for them, it's a matter of how we can help them become more automated friendly.
Yeah. And Tim, maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that. Can you give us just the background of Edgewater Automation, just kind of the scope and the area that you cover when you're thinking about your clients?
Yeah, Edgewater spends a lot of time in the automotive industry, pharmaceutical area, electronics, the battery industry. We kind of cover anything. It's our answer is yes, but how? So we get ourselves into a lot of very neat projects and a lot of neat areas. We're looking for customers who are maybe struggling with, solving problems. Maybe they've tried some things on their own. They've failed. They want to improve their processes and their product. So we work very closely with them just to develop products for themselves.
Yeah, I'll ask this question, and then we'll bring Tim Denai into the conversation. But artificial intelligence. So you're already introducing robots for, I assume, more repetitive tasks and more precision, and making things a lot easier and scaling up in size. How is artificial intelligence incorporated, or is it at Edgewater?
I'd say it's right there on the edge. Where I think all of us integrators are really trying to understand how best to use it. Everybody hears about Chat GPT, right? People are using Chat GPT. One of the things that we've found, you can use that to use a customer's contract. You might be able to review that. You might be able to find the pitfalls that might be against your company, things that you need to protect yourself against. But what I've found so far is it doesn't fully replace the human side of things.
Yeah.
There's a discussion that happens. These are emotions and feelings that go into those discussions. So we haven't fully use that just to say, hey, this is how we're going to use this in our business. But there's still other things coming, on the automation side of things that we see out in the market when Dave's customers come to him that we're still a little bit unsure of how to apply.
Yeah.
But it's coming. It's coming fast.
I think vision inspection is probably one of the ones that are really starting to close for us on AI's type of stuff. So
vision inspection, what is that?
Have a part come in front of a camera. It says yes, no, good, bad, throw it out. Keep it.
Is it within the tolerances or
all
not?
that stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of things you could put into that, but that's one thing that I see AI kind of starting to creep into ours a lot. So I think there's other things coming, but right now it's like
those things that the human eye has a hard time inspecting over and over and over again. Probably is where you see it, right?
Yeah, when like what Rick Blake used to say, we want to be on bleeding edge, we just don't want to be bloodied, right? So that's the thing.
You guys have a lot of good sayings.
We spent a lot of time together in this trade.
I love it. Let's bring. No, that's fascinating. Thank you for that. Let's bring Tim Denai into the conversation. Tim, how you doing over there in the corner? Sorry, we can't get.
It's probably better I don't get seen. My hair is all out of shape right now. So
yeah, I noticed a couple of hairs were out of place.
Right.
Yeah, if you know Tim, you know the joke there. Tim, tell us a little bit about these fine individuals' involvement in FIRST Robotics. And
I'm really enjoying just hearing the conversation. I've gotten to know these guys through business and then as personal as friends too. So I kind of leverage the friendship to say, hey, why don't you come on in? But I think these two are also pretty passionate about the same thing that I am, and not necessarily only in FIRST Robotics, but how do we help the next generation find a path? How do we learn from the next generation? If we're open to a lot of the knowledge or the mindset that some of the students have coming in, they want to add to society and add to what is happening. So I think it's the perfect blend of years ago, Dave being a mentor for a Tim Tate or somebody like that, and maybe recognizing, hey, there's a characteristic that Tim has. How can that add to, the greater good of an Edgewater Automation? So we've had discussions about how do we continue in this area to bring students into this area, into industry, and then also not only bring them, but keep them in this area so they don't disappear and go to other places. The thing that I really enjoyed with the little discussion about what Edgewater does is knowing as a supplier to Edgewater at one time before I retired is the footprint of where they do business. Their footprint is not just Southwest Michigan.
Right.
It's global.
Yep. And
it is also the scope of the size of projects that they do and how they can help an industry go to the next level. So to the point of Dave going in and seeing a customer that says, how can we improve your process? How can we make your employees safer by introducing technology and automation, and then also improve their bottom line? So it's like watching those things, but then knowing how can we bring students in this area into that environment and watch them succeed. And I throughout the course of our discussion, I really want to make sure we talk a little bit about, no disrespect to Tim, but Dave has a unique experience that Tim and I have not really got to have. And that is he's a mentor for a team. And so watching him, he talked a little bit about it, that freshman who comes in and getting to see what they're capable of. But then also Dave has a unique knack, I want to say, for being able to go, how could this student become a part of the Edgewater team and be successful? So I want to make sure that we cover that and let Dave talk about that a little bit, because that's a unique experience that I think Tim and I would love to see. And I think we have mentored, quote unquote, people throughout our lives, but I don't know it's been at the level that maybe Dave has.
No, definitely not in the FIRST Robotics field. No. Dave has a passion for that. This guy stays up till he'll come into work at 5 o'clock in the morning and he's out until midnight with these kids, trying to make sure that they're successful. And that's pretty commendable.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing that. We appreciate it. Let's talk about let's talk about that right now. And I also want to mention our sponsors for the Robotics Roundtable that we're hosting right now. Berrien Springs Public Schools is a brand new sponsor, so we thank them for doing that. Lake Michigan College and Cook Nuclear Power Plant, they their contributions help make bringing Robotics Roundtable possible, make it possible here on WSJM. But we're talking with Dave Goodenough from Edgewater Automation, Tim Tate, president of Edgewater Automation, and Tim Denai, who's a robotics judge advisor and enthusiast. But Dave Goodenough, as a mentor, hearing what Tim and Tim squared. Why was my brain stumbling on that? Tim, hearing from Tim squared. What is the role of a mentor? What do you do as a mentor? And how long have you been doing this?
So I've been doing this since 2008 for FIRST Robotics.
Okay.
So it's been a while for doing it on and off and seen a lot of things, done a lot of different things. But the biggest thing is try to, for me, I'm more mechanically minded. I'm more, I do have some controls background on that type of stuff. So I'm looking and I'm trying to direct them. It says, okay, I help them on Bridgeport. So I direct them on that. I show them how to pick up a piece of metal and we get to go from there. Right. And we start making parts, we start designing parts, and then we go from there. So being a mentor, but the one thing for me is being a mentor is watching these kids. There's, I don't know, Tim, you kind of said it. There's a way to see things and see the way they happen with some of these kids. And I'll give you one example.
Yeah.
We had a kid that was on our team back in 2013. We ended up going to Worlds at St. Louis that year.
Wow.
And I'm setting up in the stands. He's down there. He's our driver on our team. And I look at him and he's out on this got this little black paper sitting on on a back black book. He's writing things down. So I go down to him and go, "What are you doing?" And we always give them nicknames. I always give them a nickname on the team. Somewhere's in the end, I had one kid that was wrench and hands not, because he'd always dropping his wrenches and stuff. So there's always stuff like that. So, but I went down there and I said afterwards, "What are you doing?" "I'm writing stuff down that I want to invent." And I'm going, "That's a kid we need down at Edgewater Automation."
Wow.
Fast forward, he's probably one of our better machine designers now.
Oh, you got him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got him. Yeah.
Nice.
So and I can tell you a lot of other stories that have happened over the years as well too. So the one in Wrench and Hands Not was basically, and he'll hear this and he's going to go, "Why did you say that?" But anyway, he's working for us as well too. So
how many? Yeah, go ahead.
We probably got 8, 9, 10, well, probably 12.
I'm not sure who Wrench and Hands Not is, so you're probably not going to disclose that, are you?
No, I'm not. I'll tell you later.
As a mentor, not only to FIRST Robotics, but I think any mentor will have different qualities or consistent qualities across of how they approach. And especially when you're thinking about young people, it can be hard because they've got a lot of things that are competing for their interest.
Yep.
How do you approach? What are you looking for, and how do you engage? And what are some resistance points?
I try to get some humor in things to begin with, right?
Okay.
So they start.
You say something funny.
Yeah.
Can you say something funny now?
No, probably not.
Kidding.
I can't.
Sorry.
I really do try to get down to a level that we can start connecting with, right?
Yeah.
I'm the old guy. I'm the old guy coming in. And they're looking at me. Who's that guy? You know what I mean? That's what happens.
Yeah.
So it's like that's why I start with the nicknames. I find something that I can do. There's a nickname that
making
out
those
there.
connections.
Yep. That's how I start, and then from there it just kind of gets being a back and forth thing. And I talk about work ethic. I talk about a lot of things that go into what Edgewater's looking for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is not just the skills. It's how do you want to work? Well, there's a lot of things that roll into that. So that's kind of where I go with it. And I keep watching every person in the room, trying to keep an eye on things, and you get different vibes from different kids.
Yeah.
So, and that's just a thing.
As you were saying, the things that you're looking for, there's two things that I often ask Dave about when we're in public settings for FIRST Robotics. Your two things that I think that are they're basic for anybody. Your two sayings, the two I'm thinking.
So basically when I was in my apprenticeship, I barely talked when I was going through my apprenticeship, so it was hard to say, hard to believe, but nowadays, but at the time it was like, I would said, so did I do that right? What can I do next? There was couple little questions. It's like, I always wanted to improve on what I was trying to impress. And I always wanted to sell myself to the people around me to show that I have the ability to do that. So
Yeah.
there's some things that I said.
Those are the first is, what can I do to help? And then it was, did I do that right?
Yep.
I mean, it's two simple things. And if you apply that, if students and just us as individuals, if you apply those two questions to pretty much anything you're doing, that's a successful career path. I don't care what you're doing. You come in with humility. What can I do? And then, did I do that correctly? Because I don't care the age that you are. No one is infallible. And if you make a mistake, probably the greatest thing about making a mistake, that's right, the greatest thing about making a mistake is learning from it. And if you fail to learn from your mistake, then you failed. But if you learn from the mistake, Tim tells me, hey, you did this, but we could have done this a little differently. Oh, yeah, I see the path. Next time, we don't make the same mistake. So I love that. And for students to get to hear that from the old guy, but the cool thing is I'm going to say that probably, I know the first student you were talking about, he's my neighbor pretty much, is if you were to ask him, he now probably has adopted a lot of those same type of mindset of, what can I do? How did I help? That thing. And then, what's the next thing I can do?
Yep.
Yeah, well said. And that's why we call Tim Denai one of the greatest judge advisors for FIRST Robotics. Thank you.
Wow.
And an enthusiast in our area. We're talking with Tim Tate, president of Edgewater Automation, and Dave Goodenough, director of Robot Technology Development with Edgewater Automation. We're going to continue Robotics Roundtable. It's again brought to you by Cook Nuclear Power Plant, Lake Michigan College, and Berrien Springs Public Schools. We'll bring it back, and we'll keep talking on the video live stream in just a moment right here on WSJM. We've got news from Bloomberg, ABC, and our local newsroom next. How we doing, gentlemen? Are we good?
Good. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Tim, I keep messing up your microphone.
So, I mean,
there we
can
go.
you hear me? Am I talking to nobody?
Yep. No, you're talking. We got you.
He's
We got you.
muted.
Yeah, that's the best way to hear Tim.
No, because there are so many buttons to push. Terry, our engineer, automated a lot of it, but I just identified one that a continuous improvement opportunity.
There you go.
So, countermeasure that will engage. All right, we've been talking a lot about Edgewater Automation and some of the mentorship programs. How many teams do you mentor, Dave?
Basically, one as a majority of the time.
Okay.
I do help others at other times. It's the one thing about FIRST Robotics is this gracious professionalism that they really push, right?
Yeah.
And there are times when you'll be at I'll give you an example. Last year at Berrien Springs, the mentor, he was the lead inspector at the competition last year, Doug, and he came up to us and basically said, there's a team over here that's oversized in weight, oversized in the size, they won't be able to compete.
Oh,
so they basically,
okay.
Can you go over there and do that? So we grabbed a bunch of kids. We went over there. We started helping them tear the robot apart. We cut it all down. We got them back up and running. They only missed one match.
Wow.
Out of the whole thing. And that's the one thing nice about FIRST Robotics is that gracious professionalism, which creates partnerships between everybody, which on the other hand is what we try to do at Edgewater, is become partners with our customers, not just a customer.
A one-time customer.
It's not a good thing. So that's the type of thing. So I try to help other people as I go along. I'll jump into going to another school for a day or two because they have an issue or something. We'll do that. We got mentors on our team. Our controls mentor, Kevin, he's been to other 3 or 4 different schools in the area, just helping them get up and going because they're brand new teams. So we all, as mentors on our team, kind of try to help many teams in the area as possible.
Yeah, I love that. Edgewater Automation, you said a couple of things that got me thinking. How many employees are there currently at Edgewater?
250.
250 employees, and you've got a footprint.
We got a footprint here in Michigan and in South Carolina. So we're located in St. Joe, Michigan, and Buchanan, Michigan.
How did we get you in Michigan this time of year? Why aren't you in South Carolina looking at that stuff?
It's just as cold there right now. We were just talking about that yesterday.
I was talking to somebody in Texas yesterday, and they were just thought the world was ending because it was like 19 degrees where they were at.
Yeah, we had a customer that was ready to shut down. They had inclement weather.
Yeah,
numbers going out for all their employees, and it's 19 degrees, and we're like, "What are you doing?" This is normal. 19
degrees is a good day because the de-icer will work.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that weather, right?
Absolutely. It should be up in the 40s. We'll get a forecast here in a minute, but 40s on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It'll be nice.
Heat wave.
It'll be fantastic. We're continuing our conversation with Tim Tate, president of Edgewater Automation, and Dave Goodenough, director of Robot Technology Development. Can I ask you, gentlemen, what's your background? How did you get into the roles that you're in now? You want to start, Tim?
Yeah. So in high school, I was trying to figure out what direction I wanted to go. So I joined the MT3 program at Weldon International, which
MT3.
is MT3, Machine Tool Technology Program.
Okay.
Where they teach you hands-on skills running Bridgeports, lathes, grinders, machine assembly, electrical and mechanical assembly. Got to interface with the Weldon team back then, which is no longer in existence. It's a new company down there in Bridgman. But they had a great training program. They had mentors in that program who dedicated their day to teaching us the skilled trades that we do now. Out of that program, I was hired in at Dane Systems as an apprentice, which spent 4 years in the trades. Started sweeping shop floors, cutting steel, working my way up to melting hot lead for a battery assembly line for 8 hours a day with a torch. Good stuff.
That doesn't sound like good stuff.
You know what? No,
I need automation.
It's character building.
It's character building, right? And I tell you what, these guys that taught me my craft, there were some special guys in that trade that I remember: John Hosbein, Steve Aaron Sr., Steve Hilligus, Dave Gerald. Those guys, they mean a lot to you. They're mentors, just like Dave was in this trade, and that's what the apprenticeship side of things is in this industry, is taking kids in and fostering them to teach them your skill, right? And in your trades to pass that on down. And I think that's why Dave is so passionate about what he does. He's got some life skills and some skills he's picked up in this trade that he can share with somebody, and you can leave that behind and hope that you can make it a little bit better trade than it was when you started.
And Tim says that, but Tim's doing the same thing, right? He's got a passion for this business. I mean, and his life path, I've seen it. I've lived it with him, right? He's done a heck of a job getting to the point he is in life because of that hard work, because of that work ethic, because of his knowledge and understanding and keeping that stuff. So he's bringing me into this stuff, but I want to also say that he's part of this big thing that is huge for Edgewater. Yeah. So I just want to let everybody know that's
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
We've been through a lot together though too over the years.
Dave and I have worked together just for a short time since 1995, right out of high school.
No kidding.
Yeah. We've known each other a while.
You ever throw wrenches at each other?
Not yet.
We don't use wrenches.
Not yet, but we've probably nicknamed each other a few different times. Dave designed the big machines I built, and I built the machines he designed. So I'm sure there were some nicknames along the way.
I'm sure there was.
We won't share those today.
Yeah, no, that's
but
good.
With that said, we've done some really cool pieces of equipment over the years that have been pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to work on some things that they come to the forefront before anybody sees them in the world. So we're working on them, trying to get those things deployed, and it's just a neat trade to be a part of.
Are you allowed to talk about some of the companies that you've helped find solutions for?
We got to work at NASA.
Yeah, we did get to work at NASA.
No
kidding. That was really cool. Yeah,
that would be cool.
They had a system that actually would simulate how the rocket ship would fly and shake and start. So that was a
got
cool
to make one of those things.
We did.
Wow. That's awesome.
It was a development program that we worked directly with them to build them a simulation tool.
We better get back on the air here. Hang on one second. It's the WSJM Morning Show. Good morning. I'm Ken Lundberg. It's 7:38. We're back on the radio here. We were having a great conversation. In fact, just finding out if you're missing out on the video live stream, you're missing a lot, because we were having a conversation with Edgewater Automation President Tim Tate, and he just disclosed that at some point they worked with NASA on creating a machine that would just shake the beans out of your soul or something along those lines for testing requirements. Is that right?
Yeah, testing requirements. Yeah, it actually was a simulator system for them, so they can use it as an in-house training tool. I don't know about shaking beans out of your soul.
They can't use it on astronauts?
I guess if you're standing close enough to it, you might get that.
I get to use the colorful words.
Yeah.
It's 7:39. The WSJM Morning Show continues. We're having a good time talking about robotics. FIRST Robotics, there are a couple of competitions coming up in March, and they're going to be in St. Joseph and in Berrien Springs. Tim Denai, who is a robotics judge, advisor, and enthusiast. You want to tell us just a little bit about those and what people can expect?
So and Dave can even elaborate on this. If you go to either of those events, the St. Joseph event competition takes place on a Friday, Saturday. The following weekend on a Saturday, Sunday, we do it in Berrien Springs. 40 teams from across the state of Michigan. There's over 500 teams in the state of Michigan. So 40 random teams will end up, and they will compete. They'll have 12 qualification matches. Is that correct? 12 qualification matches, where if each of us are on a robotics team, we could be part of an alliance for one match, and then the next match, Dave and I are part of an alliance, and Tim's on the other alliance. So you have no idea who your alliance partners are. So it's always in your best interest to want to work with the others to make sure that everybody's up to snuff to be able to compete and compete at their best capabilities. So you get to see that the qualification parts happen. Then you will get to an elimination round where we start picking the top robots, or I should say the robots really determine the teams determine who are the top. No one picks that, but the cream rises to the top, and then you kind of pick who your permanent alliance partners will be to go through a double elimination round. And at that point in time, now you're in a high school gymnasium. You're watching the most exciting thing that you're going to see. And I'm going to lean on our friendship a little bit to say that I've actually seen Dave do like a 3-inch vertical jump.
Oh,
when his guy can get up.
But the thing that made it happen is this is I can't remember the name of the game, but it was your team grabbed the disc, the Frisbee, and the length of the field through the Frisbee and hit, what was it, like a 3 or 4 inch?
It was about 6 inches.
Okay, so about 6-inch target, like sink the, the length of the field, the basketball court. And Dave had said to myself and Jason Cleveland, who's also at Edgewater Automation, he goes, we're really hoping this thing works. And it was like, what's this thing? So we stood there and watched, and it was boom, their robot grabs, throws, and the excitement from Dave and the team because of this function that they had worked on.
Yeah.
And it's like all of the things they had to do to get to that point was incredible. But so you get to see that piece in the competition. So there is that competition.
Yeah.
And then from my side of things, I'm going to be in Berrien Springs. I'll be a judge. In St. Joe event, I'm a judge advisor. So I lead the judges, and we've got 16 awards that we would really love to give to teams that are very qualified for those awards. So we go investigate what is happening with the team. How do they qualify for those awards? Those awards can help them gain points to further their path into a state competition or a world competition. So exciting and open to the public. That's probably the coolest thing.
Free.
It's free.
Just
open
walk
to
on
the
in.
public. Just come in and tell them Dave Goodenough sent you, and you're covered. There's no cost.
Outstanding.
I would encourage you to do it. Last year was my first event as we sponsored the Berrien Springs event. And I was kind of supported Dave and the guys that do that. We've got a couple other guys at Edgewater that are mentors, Todd Tanksley, Mike Jones, Rich Cole, Cody Laughlin. Those kind of guys are all part of that group, and several others that participate and help. But I had never been to an event, and I just kind of always let these guys go do it. It was amazing. These guys forced me to speak to the entire crowd. I didn't know what I was getting into.
Wait a second, Dave, would you agree there was no force?
The big goal change.
Yeah.
Hey, these guys gave me a walkout song, man. Somebody's over there playing the guitar. I'm walking out. I don't know, ZZ Top or something. I'm walking out there.
My goodness.
Team Lancebot, the Lakeshore team, they got into, they added some bling. So they had these gold plastic chains, and I look over and there's Tim. I'm like, I wonder how he's going to do with this. And he's got this chain on and he's like, don't worry, I got this. And he took to it. He can say he didn't know what to expect or anything, but he took to it. He added to the enthusiasm. I'm going to say the one thing also that Tim and Dave and the Edgewater team added to it was a video that I think a lot of us had wanted to see for a long time. And the video was basically the people that found their career path that started in FIRST. And it was, here's the people at Edgewater and the team that they originated from. And the cool thing was there were several up there that popped up. I'm like, I've worked with that person, but I did not realize that they came from this program. And the number of people that I know that were like, that's exactly why we do what we do, because of all of these people that have had that step into this industry and be able to take off because of their involvement in FIRST. So what happens at an event at FIRST, there's so much that's happening. And it's, you can look and see where those people are going to go based upon the people that are supporting them now come back as mentors to help and watch. It's just impressive.
That's great. Tim Denai, judge, advisor, judge, and enthusiast, because you're going to be judging at Berrien Springs, right?
Yeah, I will work as a judge at Berrien Springs.
For FIRST Robotics. And we also have Tim Tate, president of Edgewater Automation, and Dave Goodenough, director of robot technology development at Edgewater Automation. We're going to continue this interview in just a moment right here on the WSJM Morning Show. All right. Sorry, we were starting a conversation and I forgot to pot up the microphones. Go ahead, Dave Goodenough.
So the biggest thing when Tim was talking about judges coming and making the decisions for their awards that happen and all that stuff through a competition, as a mentor and our teams, and I imagine most mentors, we talk to our kids about, you got to understand what's going on. The judges are going to come around. They're going to be talking to you. So it makes them go a little bit out of their natural environment, and they're having to talk about a robot or they have to talk about how you got to that point. And then that tells the judges, oh, they really actually do know. I think I've never been a judge before. I'll be honest with you, but it's basically a matter of making them get into they'll come up, they'll just talk anybody at the pit. Right. And as long as a lot of teams kind of have different people talking to different judges about different things, and that's okay. We got safety judges, or safety people that talk to the safety judges. We got, there's a team, but it makes them start thinking about, how am I going to sell our team? How are we going to sell what we've done? How do we know that when they ask questions, we can respond correctly? So it makes them get out of their comfort zone and become that better leader, maybe gets them starting going into that avenue. So I just wanted to touch base on what Tim mentioned on the judges coming around, because it's not just them coming around. It's the behind the scenes of trying to get these kids basically talking.
And it's not just it's not like going to the dog show where you go, okay, and you judge based upon this. It's an interactive. The judges want to find out things. And I know when I talk as a judge to students, I want to hear the failures. I don't want to hear the polished, this is it, and everything was great and everything worked and rainbows and unicorns, because that doesn't exist. But it was like, what happened? When did it fail? How did we discover, whatever it was, that we resolved the issue, and the thought process that went behind it. And earlier, Dave, you had mentioned, and I love this, is the freshman student, when you go up to ask questions, and I was that student, I guarantee you, is like, they're coming up asking questions, and I'm like, how can I shrink into the back of this pit and not be seen? But it's two things. It's asking that person at the back, what do you think? And hopefully they will give input. And if they don't this year, 2 years from now, that same student will either step forward or is leading things at the front, because they can tell you the experiences. So it's the interactive piece. And I will tell you, from a judging standpoint, as a judge advisor.
Can you hold that thought?
Yep. Go for it.
We'll right back in just a moment here on WSJM. All right, 7:48, WSJM Morning Show continues. I'm Ken Lundberg. Wow, a lot of snow out there, and we're getting reports. So we heard earlier from a couple of our guests who were in studio that they had 6 inches when they got up. I'm seeing some reports from folks who are out and about in our different areas chiming in on the video live stream. They're saying they feel like they got a foot of snow already out there. So the lake effect snow is dumping.
That's those guys that got up and shoveled, right?
Right. And right now they're nursing a sore back. So just push the snow. Don't lift it. 17 degrees in Benton Harbor, 18 degrees in St. Joseph, South Haven 20 degrees. The snow machine is on, and a lot of school closings. I keep seeing more and more closings come in. So if you want to get the current list, you can wait and listen to it after 8 o'clock news. I'll give it there. But then if you want to check it out right now, just go to WSJM.com and you can check our closings. It's a tab there along the top. Just type closings. All right, let's do our Moody on the Market update. We've been talking with Edgewater Automation this morning about FIRST Robotics and their support of it. Moody on the Market update is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. And our guests in studio this morning, pleased to have Tim Tate, who's the president of Edgewater Automation, and Dave Goodenough, the director of robot technology development with Edgewater Automation. We also have in the studio FIRST Robotics judge advisor and enthusiast Tim Denai. But for Edgewater Automation, Tim and Dave, maybe you can just talk a little bit about why FIRST Robotics. Why are you so passionate and involved there? And what is it? What do you see it doing for the young people in our community?
I'd say why we stay involved with FIRST Robotics is we have a responsibility in this community as integrators, as manufacturers, as business owners and business community to feed the pipeline in our own business, right? We're helping the schools bring these kids along for what we need them to be.
Yeah.
And FIRST Robotics does a great job with that. They teach these kids the soft skills that they need to come into a business, as well as the technical skills that we need in a business. So seeing that passion that comes from this is amazing for our company. If you have an opportunity to support a local school or even a school that's outside of your community, I would encourage you to do that. I've seen some guys that, kind of step out of their comfort zone. I think Tim came in and really kind of worked on John Barrett last year as a judge. John had never done that before, but you find passions in people that are in your business that have created juices about teaching these kids what they know, right? So just spending some time with them on the weekend and seeing them in their craft is a special place. So if you have that opportunity to do that, the benefit that we get out of that is we get to see these kids growing up from the ground up as young kids, as Dave said earlier, freshmen in high school who maybe just don't know their way yet. They're shy. They're afraid of the seniors that they're working with, but all of a sudden they develop and they blossom into something that's pretty special. Yeah. And we get a firsthand look at those potential new recruits for our business.
What a great program to have involvement in.
And I think this program has a passion to where there's two paths to be successful. There's trades, there's all this other stuff, there's college, all this other stuff. Yeah. And as a mentor, I see the kids basically directing themselves to the right one, right? And be honest with you, I'm a skilled trades guy. I'm really passionate about the skilled trades, all that stuff. So I think having that is there's always a way to get to a point to where you can be successful in life, to where you can be a good pillar of a community, which is should be all of our common goal, right? Yeah. That should be the common goal for everybody in the path. And I don't care how you get there, you just got to get there, right? And that's the bottom line. So I think for Edgewater, and it's been fun for me to watch these kids get out of it. Edgewater's taking them on, and they've all been pretty well successful.
So we get some future leaders there.
Yeah. Yep. I bet your engagement scores are really high as far as people who enjoy their job satisfaction, because I'm just thinking about if I were a young person presented with the opportunity to build a robot and then having mentorship and seeing a career path, that would have changed my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Something our owners always said to us is, this is a journey in this business. Yeah. Every day you got to get up in the morning, you got to get up early, right? And show up every day, but you got to enjoy the ride when you're doing it. And if you can't enjoy what you're doing during the day, you're probably doing the wrong thing. Yeah. But if you come into the special trades area like we're in, it's fun. You get to work on something new every day. You get to work on exciting things, and we do enjoy the
Well, I mean, he hit it on the pot. We don't do repeat stuff, right? And I don't think a lot of people understand what people like us do, right? Yeah. I mean, we're starting from a ground floor piece of concrete, creating a one-of-a-kind system in the world, right? I mean, it's the only thing out there. It has robots, it has screwdrivers, whatever, automatic stuff, all this stuff, all that's out there. Yeah. I go out on installs and I talk to operators that are now on the systems, and I go, you're pretty lucky here, because you gotta control how things are looked at, because you are going to be on a system that might have a few bugs in it to a point to where it's all worked out. Yeah. So I talked to these people and I said, this is not like putting a piece of bread in a toaster and push a button, you get a brown piece of bread out. This has a lot of moving motions to it to where you have to do it. So as far as what Edgewater does, I don't really understand that. I don't think people understand what we do as a business.
Yeah, I think the skilled trades are often thought about as the dirty shops, right? The mold shops, the old what do you call them? The cast iron dirty foundries, right? Where you're going into a hot, sweaty plant, But if you like working with your hands, and if you enjoy working as part of a team and seeing some really new technology and getting to deploy something that you may have not seen before, so it's a great spot to be.
Are you guys ISO certified anywhere?
We are. We're ISO 9215 here in St. Joe, Michigan. Yep.
And that's clean, right?
Very clean. Yeah, very clean process. Yep. So if you have any interest in it, feel free to reach out.
So would it be fair to say you're the company that builds things that builds things?
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it.
We are the company that builds things that builds things.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. We're glad to have you here in the community. Stay here. And any plans for expansion that you can talk about?
We're growing every day. You'll see some new things from us. Our facility here in St. Joe's actually getting ready to expand a little bit.
I heard you were bursting at the seams.
We are bursting at the seams. Floor space is a hot commodity for us right now. So keep an eye out. You'll see some new things here shortly from us.
We look forward to it. That's our Moody on the Market update for today. It's also part of our Robotics Roundtable, brought to you by Cook Nuclear Power Plant, Lake Michigan College, and Berrien Springs Public Schools. We'll be back with them in just a moment to conclude this.